Hello, everybody. Sorry for my
Ah,
delay. Nice to
hey.
meet everybody. Hi, Professor Dr. Emmanuel Komi Kounakou, my
Yeah,
dear Dr. Rachel Fisher. Oh my God. It's good to
Hi, Felipe.
the dear Professor too, Professor Doctor too, Doctora Rita de Casia.
Hello.
Hello, Rita, so nice to see
hello.
you.
Nice to
Yeah.
see you again, Professor Veronica,
Yes.
dear Professor Veronica,
Veronica's
Dr.
here.
Rita, so nice to see you too, Rita.
Oh, dear Veronica, co-leader, international co-leader of the group of
Of this
innovation of
innovation group,
UNESCO.
don't forget about innovation group.
Yeah. Don't.
Innovation
It's
group.
the main words in
This
this
is
status.
impossible. This is
Yeah,
impossible.
agree with you.
Well,
Emmanuel, it's necessary to change for Philippe his status because he's under me, Professor Veronica Yarne.
oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Maybe you can change it yourself.
Yeah, okay.
Please, Professor Emmanuel Komi Kounakou.
Yes, I must do it now.
Okay.
Sorry.
I
It
don't
was,
worry, everything's okay.
it
I will
was
be in twice position.
It's
Alright.
very good. It's very good. It's very good to share this space with all of you. I feel really better because we got a team. We got a team spirit work, and for me, it's very important this because let's grow. We need grow together in this task.
Yeah, surely.
Okay.
Let's
Thank
beginning.
you. Yeah, we can go.
Yes, we can start. It seems.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, today we are here together to think about the importance of public relationship and integrated communication for organization in the context of MILDLE City in North America, Africa, Latin America, Asia, and Caribbean. And we are very glad to have 4 experts from Brazil. We have Professor Rita Lama da Castro. We have an expert from Europe, Mongolia, Dr. Veronica Yannick, you are welcome. And we have also Dr. Rachel from South Africa. You are welcome. Today, as you know it, we are very glad to share this topic, and it will be very important to hear from you. First of all, Professor Rita Lima da Castro, you are welcome. You are a Deputy President of Latin American Center for Studies in Pedagogical Epidemiology and Head of International Relationship from Brasilia. We have Dr. Veronica Yannick, I didn't correct it here, International Leader of Innovation Group of UNESCO MILDLE Alliance in Mongolia International University. And we are waiting for Professor Sadia Jamal. And we have here Dr. Rachel Fisher from South Africa. She is a researcher and activist at World Ethics, member of the UNESCO MILDLE Alliance for Africa Steering Committee. You are welcome here. And before I give the floor to Professor Felipe for his introduction word, I will let you know that for this session, we have the presentation from Professor Rita Lama da Castro. And secondly, you have the communication from Dr. Veronica Yannick, Dr. Rachel Fisher. If Dr. Sadia Jamal join us, he will complete it before the final conclusion here. So let me give the floor to Professor Felipe for his introduction word.
Thank you so much, dear Professor Emmanuel Komi Kounakou. Thank you
Yes.
so much to everybody present, and of course to the audience today. This special session will focus entitled Importance of Integrated Communication and Public Relations for Organizations in the context of UNESCO MILDLE cities. Dear friends and colleagues, we are honored to have here as distinguished speakers and colleagues, sharing your valuable insights and your knowledge about the topic. I am very happy to be here, of course. I want to welcome everyone together with Professor Dr. Emmanuel Komi Kounakou, leadership of the MILDLE cities in Canada and Africa, of course, member of UNESCO MILDLE Alliance. I want to thank you very much for your readiness to be speakers on our UNESCO Global Initiative MILDLE City webinar. We extend our warmest greetings to all present. Allow me to share some questions, some ideas like this. We have several questions to answer in this webinar. The answer to this question must include points such as: 1. Organizations must apply EECG principles. 2. The development and application of the concept of integrating communication in organizations understand as balance in 4 modalities: marketing, institutional communication, administrative communication, and internal communication. There must be a balance between them in order to be more effective and meet EECG objectives. To achieve this purpose, it is essential today to use artificial intelligence together with the tools of the media and information literacy, and in particular, UNESCO curriculum, MILDLE skills and values from the perspective of MILDLE cities or media and information literacy cities. In the MILDLE cities perspective, the companies, organizations, and other organizations indicator is included, as well as highlighting the importance of ethical innovation. All of this implies the development of critical and creative thinking skills based on the UNESCO curriculum of competence and values, as well as truly balanced and integrated organizational communication in these 4 modalities: marketing, institutional communication, administrative communication, and internal communication. This can be applied to public and private organizations and can result in more unified negotiations, greater integration with stakeholders, build insecurity, the business, new public-private partnerships, greater benefit for the population, of course, but let's the speak talk about these important topics. Thank you so much again, and you got the floor.
Thank you so, Professor Felipe, for your introduction. It was very interesting to hear from you how you have opened the door for discussion. You have said that the use of artificial intelligence is very important today to achieve the goal of MILDLE City, to integrate public relationship and communication in our development. So we need to hear from others. I will invite Professor Rita to have the floor. Professor
Thank
Rita,
you.
you have the floor.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, so thanks, it's an honor. I prepared some diapositives to share with you.
Yes.
May I can Please
think-
tell
yes,
me.
Yes.
I hope I hope today we don't have problem with the internet. Do you remember, Professor Veronica? So I will talk only about the importance of integration, communication, public relations for organization in this context that Professor Emmanuel told us. And I think it's important to remember some singular things. We know that in recent times, societies are demanding more and more transparency and ethical communication from organizations. And I think they want to see organizations that are responsible to the needs and demands of their surroundings. And about this, we need to remember that we have three main dimensions to communications with organizations. The instrumental dimensions, that's more common. It's referred to technique of communication something. The strategic dimension, it relates to the pragmatism of communication itself. And the human dimension, that is directly related to the most noble, essential function of communication. That is to make something common. As Professor Margarida Canchi told us, remember Professor Felipe, human beings can't live without communications. Okay, so what it's important? I think the strategic dimension, it's also analogous to the instrumental one, but it's more than it. I metaphorical associate strategic communication with a game of chess. You know, why? Because when we think in strategic communication, we must consider how to achieve our main objectives by anticipate the opponent moves. So we plan the most effective moves and alternatives to achieve our objectives by anticipate some of the opponent moves. And about relation public and about integration communication, I think it's essential. Why? Because if you remember MILDLE series, are urban space that can use artificial intelligence and other new technologies with ethics and respect for diversity, organic empowerment of every citizen, education critical and creation thinking, valuing ecology in a sustainable way, and think about new affectives. We need all of this, and in our indications of new cities, but we need all of this in a big map of integration communication that I will share in some seconds. So we need to remember that media and information literacy incorporation essential knowledge about 3 points. The roles of media, libraries, archives, and other information providers in democratic societies. The conditions under which new media and service providers of information can effectively fulfill these functions, and how to evaluate performance of these functions by evaluating the contents and services offered. Okay, so we have our map, and this is what I'd like to share in this day. In our integration and strategic communication maps, we can see all of elements that are important for new cities citizens and for new cities and relation public. So how can we develop integration communication and that in strategic and fulfills this essential knowledge and this premise? By developing activities that make it possible to make connections with different players and that cover aspects such as image and reputation, the brand ecosystem, position, the market and relationships, going beyond flows and process. So this map is based on Isabella Pimentel and Margarida Crunch and summarize the dimensions to be achieved. We can see communication with the market and shareholders is associated with the general data protection and law and environment, social and corporate governance. Yeah. And risk mapping and crisis prevention with involve contingent, containment, continued response and recovery. Institutional communication, image and reputation, it's essential for organizations. And administrative communications, we need covering process, networks, and flows, the people management. Digital public relationships cover the following topics: social networks, press events, public relations, and co-brands, on media, and digital influence. Marketing communication covers strategic marketing, promotions, sales, advertising, and publicity. Communications with employers involves employer branding, strategic management, communication leadership, engagement, culture, and organizational climate. Accessible, includes, and diverse communication encompass culture, leadership, and organization practice, as well as programs, projects, campaign, and actions. I think this map can summarize the important aspects for public relations in mill cities. And this sum up the search for interaction between information, communication, and technology. And if organizations apply this proposal for integration communication with a strategic and technical dimension, but it also concerns with the human dimension. And so I believe they will achieve coherence and effectiveness in their messages on various channels, and will contribute to improve their reputation, their image in mill cities. I think there can be challenges that I can size up. Break down the barrier that only considers the technical aspects of communications that are more common, in order to focus on something more comprehensive that involves the human dimension and the literacy citizen, you know, and developing a more defined and integration communication policies that makes into account the dynamic nature of the multiple relationships that are present in various channels and make up the knowledge society and the 21st century. That's it, my proposal for today.
Wow, Professor Rita Lamada Castro, thank you so much for sharing this interesting communication. And I noticed that we need to have three main dimensions to integrate communication in our society today. And the map you have shared is a rich information that has involved 22 branches in the ecosystem for integrated communication. So, to develop today our society, our administration, we need to focus on these 22 aspects of communication so you can achieve the goals of mill cities in our countries, in our societies. Thank you so much. At the end of the communication, you will be here to answer our questions. Thank you. Before I give the floor to Professor Veronica, I don't know whether Professor Felipe has something to add.
Yes,
you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let me tell some highlights. I like so much your presentation, Professor Rita Lima de Castro. Your presentation are show for us a very complex framework about the strategic communication and public relations. Let me read. your emphasis in the democracy and the ethics and the transparency is very important. Of course, they build a reputation of the organizations to the brand and the a new corporative culture about the digital public relations. This point is very, very important too. Well, congratulations for your wonderful presentation, and go ahead with other presentations. Please, Professor Emmanuel Komi Kounakou.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Professor Felipe, for your contribution. We give the floor now to Professor Veronica Yannick. Oh, here, I didn't. Okay, Professor Veronica, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Felipe. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. So also thank you so much, Rita, because I understood during your presentation that we thought in the one way, speaking about old, well-known PASO scheme, and of course more strategic, maybe more addition, but nevertheless. So I would like also to share the presentation very shortly. And so in this way, maybe I would like to share with you the ideas about integrated communications in MIL CITES, maybe not on the strategic level as Rita showed, for example, and as Professor Rita presented. I would like to maybe to go to the level of tactic and operational communications. So in this way, it seems to me that we can see practically the similar picture, of course, but from some another point of view. So in this way, I would like to share with you the ideas about the integrated communications in MIL CITES. So let's speak about media and information literacy, public relations, and MIL University. So absolutely another point of view, and maybe some other approach, if we can say in this way. So what else I would like, just a moment please, I would like to, yes, another point of view in Zoom. So in this way, what about what I would like to tell? So I would like to speak about the MIL CITES concept, but Professor Rita Lima Di Castro always told about it, but I would like to highlight some idea about the MIL CITES concept that I would like to share with you the ideas about MIL University, and then let's speak about the, wait just a moment please, yes, information and MIL hub as how to communicate with audience. So yes, wait. How to communicate with audience. So in this way, if we speak about the main principles and approach about MIL CITES, what's necessary to know? I would like to share with you this slide. It's about the step-by-step development of the MIL CITES approach. So in this way, I would like to highlight the idea that MIL CITES is the next level of the development of different several approaches of UNESCO. So what UNESCO understands as city as city. So it's the approach about the smart city, innovation city, creative city, World Heritage cities, learning city, and MIL city, media and information literate cities. And then we can speak also about the MIL University city. So in this way, maybe it's necessary to share with you the idea which I adore, honestly saying, in this approach. So what is MIL city? If we speak about the media and information literate city, of course, we can speak about many indicators and metrics. We can speak about the different actors and the role of all these actors in the the activity of the MIL city, maybe something else. But I would like to highlight the idea that media and information literate city, first of all, it's how will city build a comfortable place to live. So if we speak about the MIL city, it's necessary to highlight that we speak about the very comfortable urban space for all actors, for all citizens, for all people in this territory. So it's about the very comfortable urban life space. And if we look at the idea of media and information literate city as about the comfortable place to live, and about the comfortable urban life space. So in this way, we can speak about the MIL University as one of the part of this urban life. Of course, any university is the part of the urban life, of course. University campus, university head office, universities, subsidiaries, something else. So what does it mean for us if we speak about the MIL University? It means that university is the hub for providing and development of media and information literacy in our days. And so in the connection and with the together activity with city halls, we see the absolutely different directions for development of MIL University, such as special additional courses, special courses for entrepreneurs, maybe government relations, university courses on the educational platform, the specific courses, for example. Also the collaboration with corporate universities in business life, and the part of the, if we speak about the media and information literacy, media and information literacy can be the part of the educational program. But it's, if we speak about the university in the MIL city and about their role. So it's the different parts of the urban and education life of city in which we can see the MIL University. But who or what is MIL University? It seems to me that we have 4 different roles. The first role is the conductor of ideas, as for example, we know during the working with UNESCO, for example, as Mongolia International University, now the conductor of ideas of media and information literacy. We have the special course starting from this study year. Also, we will have such course next year. So also in Russian Federation, we have these absolutely different courses, but it's the conductor of ideas. The second role of the MIL University in MIL City, it's the system actor. Because as we discussed last several years, it's about the different opportunities for MIL University for development, for standing in the this urban space. It's also the education hub as any university all over the world, and also it's the initiator and leader of changes. So it seems to me that all these 4 roles completed and complete the very special integrative space in which university jump from one level or from one role to another and tries to develop media information literacy practically in all possible ways if we speak about the integrated communication. So the main tasks, if we speak about the media information literacy literate universities, it's necessary to understand that the main tasks now is to inform, to explain, to teach, to communicate. And in this way, I would like to say that it's very useful and very interesting that after several years of discussions about what is MIL City, what is MIL University, what opportunities do we have in business, in entrepreneurships, in different city halls activity, now we can speak about the old, well-known PESO structure or scheme. And in this scheme, I would like to tell how can we implement the communication. So how can we use the integrated communication, I don't speak about the public relations. I speak about the modern integrated communication of MIL University in this MIL city. So if we speak about the corporate, so what can we use? We can use corporate accounts in the social media, collaboration with experts and bloggers. For example, as we together with Professor Felipe Chibás Ortiz, we did as Meal Talk hosts, for example. Also vlogs on YouTube, that's practically the similar way. The personal accounts of activists in the social media, research papers, interview with experts, so on and so forth. And all these sources and channels of information we can use as information omni-channel wave, which gives us the opportunity practically to push the idea of media and information literacy. Also, I would like to highlight the UNESCO Youth Project, which will be next week. So it's also one of the opportunity for media and information literate university to promote the ideas of media and information literacy, and it's one of the way to work with the youth. So in this way, I would like to highlight three things. First of all, to integrate communication means to use all possible channels for communication with audience, and I would like to highlight and underline with absolutely different audiences. It's also mean to create fan club for MIL University as one of the opportunity and tool, and omni-channel approach for information wave and ideas support. It seems to me that it was rather interesting and very useful to look at the MIL University and MIL city concept, UNESCO city concept, from this way and from the position and the side of the integrated communications. So thank you so much for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Veronica Yannick, for your communication. You have highlighted many important points: male cities concept, male university cities, information, and male hub, and how to communicate with audience. And you have highlighted the role of communication in the university. And I can summarize in 4 points. University, my city in university have 4 main roles, tasks: to inform, explain, to teach, and to communicate. And to achieve this, we need to work together with corporation, with personnel, with research papers, and to collaborate with others to develop this concept in our universities. And you have said that it is very important to create today fan club for male universities. So if we want to develop a relationship, public relationship and integration communication, you need to put together these force, these people, this research, so you can achieve my city objects in our societies, in our education, in our universities. Thank you so much for your communication. You will need your presentation at the end to have it as achieved in our document. So thank you so much. Professor Felipe, you have the floor. Yes.
Thank you. Well, as always, Professor Veronica surprised us with her excellent analysis.
Yes.
You are, of course, your angle, Professor Veronica, of analysis is very interesting because you include 2 universities, because universities are cities, of course. The campus of universities are cities. How integrate the communication. This question, this line is very important in your analysis. The concept of mixed cities, the evolution of the concept of mixed cities with the learning cities and other concepts from UNESCO and UN is very interesting. Your reflection about this too, to include all actors in the transformation, the cities in MILDLE cities or media and information literacy cities. Well, these for me are the most important points, but of course, your presentation are very rich. Thank you so much, Professor Veronica.
Thank you, Professor Felipe, for your commentary and contribution. We have now Dr. Rachel Fisher from South Africa. Again, congratulations for your graduation ceremony. If we could be there, you will be there to support you. But here, it is the occasion to express our heart, to say that today you belong to the club. So you are welcome.
We are very proud with your presence, Dr. Rachel Fisher.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup.
Yeah, merci.
Yes, and spasiba, obrigada. Baie dankie in Afrikaans, Rialeboga in Setswana. Yes, and I must say this has been a journey with all of you. I had just registered for the PhD when I met most of you, Veronica and Felipe, when we were in Serbia last year. So that's when it started, and you've been with me throughout the journey. You gave me the opportunity to test all my content on you, which I am very thankful for. But without further ado, I am also sharing my screen for you presentation. Now, I warned Professor Felipe, and he told me, Rachel, you know this is about MILDLE cities. And I said to Professor Felipe, yes, but you know, Professor, I'm an activist. So I'm going to bring in something from an activist perspective. But you know what? I think it's going to work really well. My title, you can see it's a whole of society approach to integrating PR and communications within MILDLE cities. Because very clearly, as we have seen by the countless work having been done by Felipe, UNESCO, Professor Yannick, Emmanuel, that MILDLE cities consists of so many other factors within the ecosystem. So to reform our urban spaces using new technologies, but involving all the other role players that we need, from libraries, schools, universities, public halls, our courts, everything where we can get to deal with the public and private sectors are so important to build MILDLE cities. So we cannot just speak about, and I'm going to say, for example, just universities. We need to look at a whole of society approach. Because, for example, when PR or public relations fall short, so for example, if public relations are used to share fake news, or if public relations are used to share disinformation, the whole of society must make sure that is counted. And for the whole of society to do that, we need media and information literacy competencies, as Professor Rita and Professor Veronica have already indicated. I'm not going to deal with this in more detail, but for the purposes of this presentation, it is captured. I just mentioned now we need a whole of society approach. If PR falls off the wagon of what is good and right and ethical and just. So in South Africa, we have a thing called state capture. This has become big in the news, where the state was captured by our previous president and a contingency known the Gupta family, the Gupta brothers, particularly from India. This is important because part of state capture involved the capturing of media outlets and a public relations firm. And that information they actually took and manipulated in order to influence public debate and public information. And this was deliberately using misinformation and actually malinformation. And that's why it's so important having a whole of society approach, because if we not all got those competencies, how do we call them out? So in this instance, when it comes to public relations, but I want you to look at these instances of it going wrong. Now, we've looked at many implications and instances of public relations going good and responsible use. But what happens if it goes wrong? You see the manipulation of the media and the PR entity that influenced South Africa's media landscape during corrupt state capture. So this is a very corrupt moment, no accountability. We lost so much money in South Africa. And it was a British PR firm now known as Bell Pottinger that was employed to spread disinformation in South Africa. They caused riots, they caused major economic collapse, and they did that by manipulating the media itself. They even purchased their own media company known as ANN7 to distribute this news. So our media was essentially also captured to a great extent. We find violations of ethics. We all know within journalism ethics practices is the concept of do no harm. Now, unfortunately, that was contravened. And then they see a lack of consequence and accountability and what happens if we don't have a whole of society approach. But luckily, because we had universities, students, researchers, good politicians, good media houses, so everybody that forms part of a MILDLE city, part of the MILDLE city ecosystem stood up and said, this is not good. And actually, Bell Pottinger was held to account. They were put under administration, and in the UK, they were expelled from the Public Relations and Communications Association, no longer allowing to do business in South Africa. But they were also involved in the United States and Trinidad and Tobago, so it's something we need to look out for. So when it comes to information quality and accuracy within MILDLE cities, we must look at the negative things that can influence it, but also the positive ways in which it can be countered. And we must admit that there's a massive impact through disinformation, because it can distort public opinion and manipulate political and social outcomes. There are more than 60 national and general elections taking place across the globe this year, and we need to be aware of how misinformation will influence it. Whistleblowers and their work towards making information available and promoting transparency are crucial. So we need to make sure that within the MILDLE cities environment, whistleblowers are supported. And here, Professor Emmanuel Komi Kounakou and Professor Felipe Chibás, you will recognize the following. I always utilize the UNESCO IFIP matrix, the Information for All program matrix, and I adjust it accordingly to our presentations to show how this matrix can be used. Last time when I did it in 2023, I did it for AI policies, but now I'm going to do it for PR and communications. So just quickly for everybody, under the Information for All program at UNESCO, it falls under the CIN Communication and Information sector. They've got the 6 priority areas. And this is just a quick go through. I'm not going to go through it in detail due to time. But the first objective is information for development. So we need to see how do the manipulation of information influence developmental requirements of a country. and then even of a city. So we have to make sure that information is developed in a good way, transparently and with good governance. And there are some recommended actions here on how to guide that. The second one is information literacy, core and center. So if citizens are disempowered to engage with information, how can they distinguish between accurate mis and disinformation, even malinformation, which is why MILDLE universities, MILDLE schools even are so important, and libraries, because they help empower our citizens. So we need to have a development of human capability and include different literacies within national education. Once again, having a whole of society approach. Thirdly, we have information preservation. So looking how does fake news change the rhetoric on an item, we need to be responsible citizens and make sure our discourses are not manipulated. Fourth is ethics, information ethics. So ensuring we don't contravene the do no harm principles, but seeing how do people in positions of powers act responsibly towards citizens, and making sure that MILDLE cities then promote the literate and ethical use of information. Finally, we have information accessibility. I always speak about the difference between access and accessibility. Just because you have access to something doesn't mean it's accessible. So there might be spaces where people can come and utilize that information, but if they don't know how to use computers, that does not help them. So once again, we need different layers of society to assist in making information democratically available. And then finally, multilingualism is very important. As always, these webinars promote very well our abilities to make information available in different languages and share it. Here we are sitting from across the world, and we are still having these discourses on why this is important. So finally, the PR, public relations organizations, have a massive ethical responsibility, but they must be held to account if they are identified as acting unjustly and unethically. So there are detrimental effects when it comes to disinformation that is propagated through unethical PR initiatives, which is why it's so important to integrate media and information literacy in communications and within PR relations. So once again, a whole of society approach is needed, and this is promoted through MILDLE cities within an ecosystem to ensure that there's accountability in the ethical integration of communications and PR. So thank you.
Hey, thank you, Dr. Rachel, for your presentation. You have said everything. So immediately, I will give the floor to Professor Felipe for his contribution.
Okay. Thank you so much. In my opinion, in my opinion, Rachel put very important points about the integrated communication. It talks about manipulation of the communication, corruption, and in the context of South Africa, this point is very important because each countries are different, of course. And she talks about very important point too, the priority areas and the objective of UNESCO information sector. We need, in my opinion, of course, we need to recuperate these points because UNESCO have clear lines about these points: integrated communication, public relation, the brand of organization, and we need to mix these points with the ESG. ESG are, in my point of view, a very important guidelines for us. Well, of course, that's my simple opinion. Well, Sadia is here, eh?
Yes.
Professor Sadia,
Hi, I'm here.
are you welcome?
Yeah, good to see you all.
Yeah, you're
see you too.
welcome. Happy to.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think I could not calculate the time very accurately, but I just reached to Ningbo from Hangzhou, so just pardon me. Yeah.
It is correct. It is correct. You are welcome. Yeah, we know that Asia and Europe, America, we don't have the same time. So it is very difficult to calculate. But you are here. Thank you so much. Professor Felipe, thank you. Professor Rita Lima, thank you. Dr. Rachel. Now we have Professor Sadia Jamal from Asia. You are welcome. It is our first time to meet you, and we are very, very happy to hear from you. What you have done in Asia and how you think about my city in Asia. So you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. If I have to start reflecting about MIL city development, particularly in Middle East and developing countries of South Asia, something that I always wonder about the focus on citizen. So when we think about development of MIL cities and a smart urban space, how can we empower people, particularly in developing countries, and of course, many of the much developed countries of Middle East, for example, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Oman, Bahrain, Kuwait, they have been like really strong emerging economies. But when we think about people, we have to be very careful. So if I have to explain about the citizenship and people in the Middle East, so we have the local people. Back to Australia and New Zealand, we call them as indigenous people. So when I use the word local people means that the original native of these Arab countries. And then we see that these countries have evolved a very strong multicultural societies like Australia, New Zealand, or US or Canada, where we see a large population is comprised of foreign expats. So when we think about citizen, when we think about people, are we talking about the empowerment of people just who are indigenous or local to that region? Or we are talking about all those people who are living, residing, and contributing to these societies? So first ever time, I happened to had a discussion back to UAE about the development of MIL, and I was very surprised to hear that the concept is all about technology. And if we achieve technology, we are able to connect people. So it's all about connecting people with technology. They have more access to digital devices. They are more digitally connected. And of course, the focus is on developing digital competencies of the people. Then the second stream, which I heard, was a more focus on how to combat misinformation, disinformation, and fake news, particularly in the post-pandemic period. However, when we reflect back on the situation back to the Middle East, there are so many complicated issues that we need to address for the development of MIL cities. And the first one starts from the core component of information that PR companies, advertisers, marketers, everybody who is involved in integrated marketing communication or PR practice need to pay attention, either in the government or non-government sector. Information. So we all know that access to information has a different regulatory regime in Middle East. Many of the South Asian countries, they also have very restricted regime when it comes to access to information, and it does reshape the practice of PR practitioners. It does influence the practice of advertisers and marketers who are involved in communicating certain sort of information, no matter from branding, no matter information about any awareness regarding development process or any other kind of persuasive message. So information It's not about that we are dealing with fake news, disinformation, or misinformation because of any media and communication channel, but it does get polluted, I would say, because of deliberate manipulation at the state level. So that was the issue of concern about how to improve access to information in societies which are not open information sharing societies and where access to information is restricted. The second concern was also related to information, was about the citizen's self-expression. So when we think about the evolution of MIL cities, the core principle of UNESCO is to empower people who can self-express themselves using different kind of technologies. So we need to pay attention what sort of public sphere, offline and online, is available to people and how much they are able to self-express themselves, how much they are able to evolve as critical thinker to use different kind of media and communication channels. So the first deadlock that we face back to countries like Middle East and of course in many of the developing countries of South Asia, for example, I can give you example of Pakistan, is how to ensure that that information is helping people to be empowered citizen. And the second thing is that how that we can ensure MIS cities as information societies, which is a deadlock. The second component is about communication, of course. And now we have to pay attention about different kind of communication channels. So PR practitioners do help to get engaged with different kind of stakeholders who are involved in different kind of communication messages involving ministries, people in government officials, non-governmental organizations, business sectors. So PR people help to coordinate or liaise with these different kind of stakeholders. But the concept of integrated marketing communication has really attracted attentions of not only universities, but also we observe advertisers, marketers, they are now trying to be more coherent in terms of the messages they are trying to build to communicate to people, not only in government organizations, but also in non-governmental sectors, particularly if I give you example of UAE. Why is that so? Because I think organizations, they are trying to strive to maintain and to ensure the public more transparency, which is quite often questioned by journalists, I would say. So in order to ensure that transparency of communication, to have more better branding and image of organizations, not only at government level, but also at corporate sectors operating in UAE, I think they are trying more to improve those communication channels and message building and message crafting for better integrity, for better transparency. And then the third part is about technology. Now, the technological part to make people digitally connected is somehow questionable. So I think back to 2019, when I was working back to Khalifa University, we did have a research project about digital divide. So we need to think about how much digital divide influence the establishment or development of MIL cities. So if you need to have urban space which is digitally connected and people are more informed through different diverse online channels, we need to see what layers of digital divides are accessing, whether people have access to technology or different kind of devices, whether they have digital competencies, whether they are able to take benefit of those digital technologies. All those factors at different levels are very crucial. And then we realized that those emerging economies which feel like very technologically advanced are not actually very good in terms of digital divide. For example, if I have to give you example of China, in China, if you go back to rural areas, there is a still persistence of digital divide. So there is a huge digital divide based on age and gender in rural areas. Though China is one of the very advanced countries, which you can say is highly digitally connected, but we still are running different kind of research projects. So when we go back to Middle East, and if we pick the example of UAE, Or for example, in Oman, we see that the digital divide persists in terms of age, gender, and even different kind of qualification groups, not only in local people, but also all those countries, all those people who are residing in these countries as expat or foreigners. So the three core components for the evolution of MIL cities, information, communication, and technology all together is important for PR practitioners and all those who are involved in integrated marketing communication. They need to consider all these three layers of factors, information, communication, and technology when they devise their strategy. So as I mentioned in case of UAE, for example, the deadlock of information part is still there, which is, I feel, very relevant for the entire GCC or many of the South Asian countries that have restrictive access to information and access to expression laws. Their regulatory regime is strict. So that hamper a PR practitioner or a marketer or advertiser ability to craft the message as compared to those, for example, if we take the example of any of the democratic countries in Western countries, you will feel that the difference of practice will be there. And the issue of censorship and filtration poses a kind of a deadlock. So if I tell you in terms of technological innovation, yes, we do have huge prospect for organizations, both for government and non-governmental organizations, to make sure that, like we are establishing MIL city. For example, if you go back to UAE, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Sharjah, and some of the states, for example, Ras Al Khaimah and Alain, they are really emerging as strong Emirati states when it comes to technological advancement, when it comes to strong public relation ties of government and non-governmental sectors with citizens or residents residing in the country. However, when it comes to information, I feel that organizations, PR practitioners, and advertisers, marketers, they all together struggle because still the country, and I feel the neighboring countries in GCC like Qatar and Oman, they are still experimenting with the regulatory framework. And I feel that in future years, they will evolve more when they will have to be more explicit in terms of what kind of regulatory regime will govern information society. And I feel that that will be a more clearer framework for the establishment of MIL city. Right now, if I tell you Dubai and Abu Dhabi has really a huge potential, or Doha has huge potential to grow as a major urban space or MIL city in GCC, for example. And I'm not saying that because they are really technologically advanced or evolutionary cities, but they are providing an infrastructure of communication, technology, and of course, evolving information regulatory framework that can help these cities to evolve as MIL city. But we cannot ignore the deadlocks or the persistent issues which have been unaddressed for the past several years, and that's about access to information. It's about censorship. It's about filtration. It's about what is allowed and what is not allowed. And that not only impact PR practitioners or marketers' ability to communicate clearly, fairly, and with transparency, but it does impact people's ability to be critical thinker and to be self-expressed citizen in an MIL city. So that's my very brief reflection about MIL city and the scope of PR and integrated marketing communication in GCC.
Hey, Princess, I thank you so much for your accurate communication.
Okay.
You have brought many information from China, and we say thank you. Yeah, you have focused your communication on citizens development context about people, local people, and their particular needs. And I have, I can say 2 words ethics, use of technology,
Yeah.
and regulation.
Yeah.
Because today, even though we say that you use information, communication, and technology, you need to know how we can use them to develop our societies. You must know how you can combat misinformation, disinformation, so you can say that we grow together with technology. Professor Felipe, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, dear friend.
Yes.
The Dr. Sadia carried out an analysis focusing on the citizen, how to empower citizens. This point is very important to MILDLE cities because the citizens are the focus of the MILDLE cities. The angle of analysis, this angle of analysis is very interesting. It is necessary to empower citizens so that citizens are not manipulated in MILDLE cities. The manipulation is actually at the moment is something normal, but we need to instruments, we need tools to combat the manipulation, and of course the MILDLE approach and MILDLE city approach are these tools, in my opinion. Dr. Sadia contextualized in the space of Arab countries. She talked about Qatar and other countries. This point is very important too, because we need a cultural approach of all these topics. Your presentation, Professor Dr. Sadia, are very, very, very rich. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you, Professor Felipe. Thank you, Professor Sadia. Thank you, Professor Rita. Thank you, Dr. Rachel, for this session. We are at the end of the presentation and the floor is open for contribution, for question, or for calling for action. You have the floor. Thank you.
I think what we saw today were important insights into the function of public relations and integration communication for our countries. We talk about the challenges and benefits of focusing on building integration communication that goes beyond the technical, that is strategic in all its aspects, and it's human, taking into account the ethical aspects, and they understand the communication is dynamic, complex, involves different interpretations and meanings. We talk about different actors, different stakeholders in a complex construction of meanings and objectives and full of possibilities. So for me, I think it was wonderful. It was a meeting full of learning and challenges for integration communications and public relations to show their important role in the MILDLE cities framework. So thanks a lot. It's an honor for me.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Rita, for your contribution. Exactly, you have brought us a new perspective of analyze my city in our country, in our society, and it is very important for us. Thank you so much. We contribute, we build together. Yes. Yeah, Dr. Rachel, Patricia.
From my side, once again, for the opportunity, it's always such a pleasure to, it can be so easy to present content that we might have presented elsewhere, but I always do enjoy for the MILDLE cities, because I don't normally work in MILDLE cities, to bring in other elements, helping me to learn. And what I've picked up from the different perspectives, there are so many role players that can contribute to having these dialogues. And for me, you've indicated that more cities is dependent on more citizens, and us as citizens within society have so much to contribute. And it's one thing to wait for public officials or the academics or the experts to come and bring us with the information, but really we do have the power and the voices. And therefore, once again, a whole of society approach where we enact our rights and our responsibilities to ensure there's ethical and accurate information and communication happening. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rachel, for your contribution, your presentation. Yeah, as you have shared, we need today to mobilize citizens, so they must be in the center of this battle, technological battle, artificial intelligence battle today. Society must be the center of the discussion. Thank you so much. Yes. Okay. Professor Sadia Jamal, you are welcome. You have the floor.
Thank you, Professor. So I think if I have to share my inspiration about this MIL webinar series, I think it gives a lot of food for thought. Though I don't quite often attend these webinars, I think this is the first ever time I was invited. But I think from the post of Felipe, I regularly follow him on his social media, and I see different kind of webinars, different topics, and quite often I get food for thought. So this is the first ever time when I was thinking about my focus, I was thinking whether I will be focusing on practice, whether it will be from the industry perspective of PR or integrated marketing communication, or something really I'm interested in doing, and it was all about the public, the citizen, which is the core of UNESCO framework. We are developing MIL cities not only for the countries or for the sake of a framework, but rather we are developing these MIL cities for citizens and public. So I think the most interesting part for me today is, though I could not attend the entire webinar, but I feel that if we push forward research projects and investigations focusing on the real life experiences of people, how do they understand information communication and technology, how do they see themselves as part of urban spaces which are digitally connected, then I think we will be able to have real recommendations for national governments and of course for organizations like UNESCO. And I think, finger crossed, I'm very inspired to have my future research project, near future research project into MIL City and citizen empowerment. So I really want to see how citizens can contribute. It's not about financial capital of the countries or organizations. It's not about the intellectual capital of the governments or organizations, but rather it's more important about how do we see the aspiration of the citizens of those urban spaces, what exactly they need, what exactly they expect. And there we can find the gap between need and expectations. And then national governments and organizations such as UNESCO and other international organizations, they can help to better create those urban spaces where needs and expectations don't have a wide gap. This is what I feel.
Thank you, Professor Saida Jamal, for your contribution. Yeah, you have said it exactly. We need today to empower citizens so we can see their perspective, how they use technology, how they use information, communication, so we can have the main recommendation for our government, our municipalities, so we can together build our society in ethical use of information. Thank you so much for this contribution. It is very, very appreciated. Professor Felipe, before Professor Felipe give his final word, we will ask Professor Rita to share with us and the public and the world 2 words to finish the moment. 2 words.
I think I can tell 2 things. We have an excellent point to change ideas and frameworks. How can we do it? With an integration communication that respect the human, respect the diversity, and think about all stakeholders in this process. I think it's fundamental. It's important.
Thank you so much. We need to change ideas, respect women, and work together. Thank you so much, Professor Rita Lima de Castro. And Professor Saidia Jamal, you have 2 words to share with the whole world about the topic.
Okay, 2 words only? Okay.
You can
All
go.
right. So precisely 2 words: practice and create impact. That's it.
Practice and create impact.
Impact.
Exactly. Yes. If we are in the field, you can practice. So you can have the impact on our societies, on our universities, and our government. Yes, you need to practice. UNESCO must know today that we need to practice more practice than share idea only. Thank you so much. Professor Felipe, you have the floor to close this session.
Oh, thank you so much, my friend. Thank you so much to all. I will think I will let me share some ideas.
Yes.
I felt in this moment many highlights in my head. All presentations in different ways show the need to approach integrity, communication, and public relations from the perspective of MILDLE or media information literacy and MILDLE cities approach, but using the tools that these 2 approach offer. We got, for example, the UNESCO curriculum. This is a very important tool. We need to appropriate this tool and use this curriculum to change the organizations and the society, all society. I would like to highlight it too, again, about the need to link ESG principles with the tools of media and information literacy and MILDLE cities. Also, to use technologies and innovation ethically to build a good and solid reputation for our public and private organizations, especially in our countries of the South blockade, BRICS, and so on. I would like to invite all of you today, speakers, to write a chapter on this point for our next book on MILDLE cities. I am very happy because all of you put very important points about the relation of these variables, about the public relations, integrated communication, and of course, MILDLE cities and MILDLE approach. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Professor Felipe, for your conclusion. Thank you so much, Professor Rita Lima da Costa. And thank you so much, Professor Saidia Jamal from China. We thank also Mrs. Regia Giustino da Silva. It was very interesting to hear you to share this moment, and we are at the end of this session. It is not the first and the last. Our meetings are open to you to bring us new ideas, new projects, so we can build together. Professor Felipe, it is my pleasure to work beside you, closer to you, to learn. And today I have learned many things. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes, we are at the end of the session. Have a great day in your countries, and together we can build a great world where we can live in peace.
Thank you, Professor,
Thank you so much.
and thank
Yeah,
you,
Professor.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye. So,
Thank you.
good.
Hugs.
Bye.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.